Yo, 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 what's good with it, y'all? It's your boy Lamborghini Preem, back once again talking this boxing shit. And as always, make sure you stop by my official site, hustlegameboss.com, and check out my all-new album, It's My Turn to Throne Ascension LP. It's a motherfucking classic, and it's also available on iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, Tidal. Big shout out to Tidal. Pandora, it's even on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Whichever outlet you so choose, make sure you throw my name in the search engine, the Supreme General, and I shall appear. Also, while you on my site, hustlegameboss.com, make sure you stop by hustlegameboss.com/shop and check out my official Supreme General merchandise and cop you something. You know what I'm saying? We got hoodies, we got t-shirts, we got hats, we got drawstring knapsacks for the students. We got motherfucking bandanas for your dog. I got onesies for your babies. I got phone cases for the ladies. I got it all, baby. You know what I'm saying? I don't play no games out here, trying to get it all the way around the board. So and also, if you do cop something from there, you know what I mean, make sure you tag me on Instagram at HustleGameBoss or Twitter at HustleGameBoss, or shoot me a message on Facebook or tag me on Facebook, the Supreme General. Just search for me, you know what I mean, you can find me. If you cop some of my shit, man, and you want me to show you some love, I definitely will. I repost your shit, make sure I shout you out, you know what I mean, show you some love back, because I appreciate those who appreciate me. Alright, so with that being said, let's move on to the video. This video right here is about a question that Roy Jones Jr. posed, and of course he answered with himself as the answer, which I can't do nothing but agree, as far as, his outlook on it. He experienced his prime, he was there, he's seen everything, he's seen Floyd, and he feels like he was better in his prime. Me personally, I disagree. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. had a better prime than Roy Jones Jr. And it's a few reasons why, actually. It's not really too complicated from my perspective. In my opinion, Roy Jones Jr. has some of the most spectacular offense I ever seen in the ring. Defensively, he was sharp too, but he wasn't known as a defensive master or a defensive wizard per se. You know what I'm saying? He was known as an offensive juggernaut. You know what I mean? He was taking motherfuckers out left and right. He was able to make the great James Toney look slow and sluggish, and you know what I mean, just out of his league fucking with Roy. It was beautiful, man. It was really, really beautiful. Some shit that I really, it was a boxing masterclass, you know what I mean? It was just the level of athleticism put on display was second to none, you know what I mean? Roy's twitch muscles and his cat-like reflexes and his power. Roy had pop, man. Anybody that can go from 154 all the way up to heavyweight, he got pop. You know what I mean? And that's just something I really greatly appreciated. Roy was always one of my favorite fighters. He in my top 5 all time. You know what I mean? But when it come down to it, I appreciated Floyd's prime more. It was utter dominance on both sides of the coin, I should say. You know what I mean? Floyd was not only spectacular offensively, because those pull counters, like I was telling somebody else earlier, man. Skip Bayless knows what a pull counter is, thanks to Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Sr. But he knows what that is now. I learned so much just watching Floyd. You know what I mean? Seeing the different things that he was able to do in the ring masterfully. You know what I mean? I see a lot of fighters copying and emulating a lot of the things that Floyd does in the ring. They emulate a lot of the shit Roy does too, but it's more offensively where they emulate Roy. Defensively is where they emulate Floyd, but they also emulate Floyd offensively. It's just some G shit all the way around, man. Some things that I personally appreciate highly. You know what I mean? Floyd, just to fight against Philip Endo, when he showed you how to fight in the pocket like that and not get hit, and Endo was throwing them bombs and couldn't land shit. Same thing with Ricky Hatton, man. Ricky Hatton at the time, man, was a cold boy, man. He made Costa Zoo quit. You know what I mean? I mean, Costa Zoo was a high level fighter, man. I give him a lot of props too, man. He's a legend too, but to get your ass beat so bad that you quit, and that's exactly what happened. If you watch that fight, Ricky Hatton was getting in that ass, boy. He was beating the shit out of Costa, man. It was ugly. He made it an ugly fight, brought it down into his wheelhouse, and chopped him up. It was just spectacular. So to see Floyd handle him like that was just wonderful. You know what I mean? In Roy's prime too, outside of the fact that Floyd was technically brilliant on both offense and defense. And don't get me wrong, Roy had his moments because he went a whole round one time without getting hit. And I think that's like one of the only times in history that happened. I think Floyd might have did it too, maybe. I don't know if they gave it to him or not. I had to double check that, but I'm pretty sure Roy is one. If he's not the only guy, he's one of only two, like him and Floyd, or maybe Willie Pep. You know what I'm saying? To go a whole round. I think it was Willie Pep, might have been the other guy. I gotta double check that, but it's only been like 2 or 3 guys ever in the history of the sport that was able to go a whole round without being touched. And I think it was him and Willie Pep that actually won those rounds without having to land a shot. It was just some G shit, but at the same time, that doesn't compare to me to the way that Floyd defensively handled Philip Endo in the pocket, or Jesus Chavez when he pulled that fight out, from the jaws of defeat, when he came back and beat Jesus Chavez like that, man. It was just, that was an amazing fight, man. If you ever get a chance to watch that fight, go ahead and type in your YouTube Mayweather versus Chavez and watch that Jesus Chavez fight, man. It was a hell of a fight. Floyd was down on most of the cards, or 2 or 3 of the cards at the end of the fight, and it was looking like it was gonna be a rough day for Floyd, man. It was, man. Chavez was throwing punch after punch after punch. I mean, he was relentless, man, relentless, and still got his ass whooped, getting caught with them uppercuts and pull counters and left hooks and check hooks and all that shit that Floyd does. The same thing with Ricky Hatton with the check hook. I mean, I could just go on and on with the different moves that Floyd does that I learned as a student of the game, per se, just watching him, you know what I mean? And I can't say that I learned as much watching Roy Jones. I mean, with Roy, it was more ooh and ah type shit, you know what I mean? Like, you see him do some shit like, yo, that was crazy, you know what I mean? But when you see Floyd shit, it's like, god damn, like, how is he able to do this? Like, you could just tell in Floyd's style that if he wasn't a gifted athlete, which he was, I should say, but if he wasn't a gifted athlete, he still would have been able to be absolutely one of the all-time greats just on technique alone. And that's the one area Roy was lacking, man. He broke a lot of rules because his athleticism allowed him to be able to do it. But technically, he wasn't very technically sound. So once that athleticism began to erode, we began to see, Roy Superman start to, get hit with that kryptonite. You know what I mean? And it's just, it was ugly, and that's something we never saw with Floyd. We never saw Floyd dominated. We never saw Floyd beat. We never saw a guy who even came close to beating Floyd. I think the most rounds Floyd lost in a fight was like 5. And that's, unless you consider the Castillo fight. But me personally, I thought that Floyd won that Castillo fight pretty easy, man. It was 8-4 on my card. I mean, I'm not one of those people that allows the commentary to sway my judgment, you know what I mean? I'll fuck around, ignore the commentary totally, and just watch the fight. I mean, I do it all the time. Like, sometimes a lot of fights that I'll be watching every now and then. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But a lot of the fights that I'll be watching to be in different languages, so you can't really listen to the commentators, and you have to go based on what you actually see happening in the ring. And what I actually saw happening in the ring was Floyd beat Castillo. In my opinion, Castillo had a better showing of himself in the second fight. You know what I mean? Which is crazy considering the fact that Floyd had a torn rotator cuff in that fight. Basically beat the man with one arm. You know what I'm saying? It was just spectacular shit. But outside of that, you got these other mitigating factors with Floyd that make his prime more superior in my opinion. Not only did Floyd fight the higher level of competition more consistently than Roy, because I'm not saying Roy didn't fight no high level comp. He did. It wasn't as consistent. It seemed like everybody Floyd fought was either a Hall of Famer or a world champion for a good 10-year run. You know what I'm saying? And that's that's during his prime and after his prime, that continued. So it's just, It's just a magnificent thing when you know put it in perspective to see Floyd do all these things. You know, after basically coming to 147, he basically, or not even 147. I see everything after 140. These guys was coming in way heavier than Floyd. They had heavy advantages. You know what I'm saying? Even Castillo came in way heavier than Floyd. You know what I mean? Floyd was moving up to fight him from 130 to 135. You know, it's just a masterful thing. Roy went up 5 weight classes, so did Floyd. Roy skipped cruiser. I don't necessarily blame him. I think he should have got that cruiser though, while he was still close to his prime. You know, during that comeback when he was fighting Calzaghe and B-Hop for the second time, I think he should have came back and scooped him up a cruiser belt. But at that time, I think the champ was David Haye, and Roy Jones at that time wasn't beating no David Haye, man. Not at all. There's just too much power, too much speed, too much athleticism on David Haye's part. So I don't know. Maybe he could have, maybe he couldn't have. Roy was Superman. We never know. He probably could have did it, and he looked good against Calzaghe and B-Hop. So I mean, we don't know, but at the end of the day, Roy wasn't as defensively sound as Floyd. He wasn't as technically sound as Floyd. They had equal athleticism, in my opinion, because Floyd had some hellified twitch muscles just like Roy did. You know, the cat-like reflexes. He had the same thing. It was almost like he was a telepathic in there during certain fights, you know. Like when he was fighting Baldomir defensively, it was almost like telepathic. He could almost see the punches coming before the guy even threw the punch. You know what I'm saying? It was fucking spectacular. That's some shit you didn't get from Roy. And on top of that, outside of the fact that Floyd was fighting guys who were much bigger than him and the consistent high level of competition, it was just one of them things, like just seeing Floyd do his thing, man, offensively and defensively, and make those adjustments. The adjustments were the most fascinating thing about Floyd's game. You know, some fights he would come in, like the Zab Judah fight, where he was losing them first 4 rounds. Zab Judah was beating him to the punch, and he seemed to be quicker and a little bit more athletically gifted than Floyd. You know what I mean? But Floyd turned it around by using technique, and that's something that you just didn't get from Roy. You know what I mean? And Roy was just so spectacular to watch offensively, but man, defense matters just as much to me. And as such, that's why I got to go with Floyd, man. This was a hard one, man. I had to think about this for a couple days. I went back and forth a couple times. You know what I mean? Because Roy Jones Jr. was a cold boy, man. And I keep going back to the James Toney fight. You know, how he was able to dismantle a technician that I would appreciate, you know. But was James Toney as good a technician as Floyd Mayweather Jr.? I have to say it's close, but no, he was not. Offensively, he wasn't as good as Floyd. You know, look at them Pretty Boy Floyd era videos of Floyd on offense, the things he did to Gennaro Hernandez, you know, using his brain in there. You can see him thinking, just the mastery of the sweet science is what I appreciated so much more from Floyd. You know, he didn't have to master the sweet science because he was so athletically gifted. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with Floyd on this one. I know y'all some people gonna disagree, but you know, anybody who came up watching Floyd, you know what I mean? Because I'm a person, I came up, you know, I saw Roy Jones, but I didn't really get to catch him until really the tail end of his career per se. That's when I was coming of age. But I saw Floyd whole prime, you know what I mean? And that's not exactly why I picked Floyd, because I mean, I became a Roy fan. Like when I became a Roy fan, I just later on in his career, when he did his comeback and everything, I started researching his career from the root to the fruit, like all the way from the Olympics, where he was robbed in Korea, if I'm not mistaken, for his gold medal. Just like clearly robbed. It was disgusting what they did to Roy. But Floyd was robbed too, you know? It's just some wild shit, man. I mean, it was really, really close, man. This shit was damn near 50-50 race, but I got to give it to my man Floyd. So with that, I'm on to the next one, man. Holla at me, man. Fuck with your boy. I'm out here 100.